My subject recordings. You noted the research that went into society. Well, there it all is. Hundreds of hours of one-on-one interviews with the key players.
How fascinating.
When you came to see me after my father's trial, you told me to trust you, and I did. And what about your word, Leo?
I don't think he did it.
I don't either. How'd you like to help me rescue your father?
You didn't print a word of what I said to you.
All stories have competing truths. I simply settled on the most logical. I'm here to get your side of the story, Mrs. Grayson. Do you have a response to David Clarke's allegations that you two were lovers?
Here's my response to you, Mr. Treadwell. If you print a word of that garbage, I will sue you for slander.
And that's the end of the interview.
But it's only just begun.
David Clarke's obviously using you. Trying to sell his preposterous story or a desperate attempt to launch some sort of appeal. And that's something any reporter worth his salt would recognize immediately. We'll have no part of it.
As you wish, but I'm going to write this story with or without your input. Feel free to sue me. My only asset is an answering machine brimming over with livid messages from my creditors. You see, I have nothing to lose, Mr. and Mrs. Grayson. While you, it would appear, have plenty.
Just a moment, Mr. Treadwell. Perhaps there is an arrangement that can be made after all.
You have to understand the scope of the cover-up. We're talking about people on every level. Prosecutors, defense attorneys, friends. Think about it. They could put me in here. Imagine what else they're capable of.
Fascinating footage. Clarke seems to be utterly convinced he's telling the truth.
In his twisted mind, he is. The general consensus within the psychiatric community is advanced pathological narcissism.
And no element of his story has been borne out by facts?
Not a shred.
For the average person leading an ordinary life, fame holds an hypnotic attraction. Many would sooner perish than exist in anonymity. But for the unlucky few who've had notoriety forced upon them, infamy can be a sentence more damning than any prison term. And while that may be true, you can certainly smother its ring under the dull roar of conjecture and lies.